behind every great sponsorship deal is a gatekeeper. This is someone who knows the ropes. They know the ins and out of their sponsorship program. They can open up doors and they can filter through the noise. In this video, I'm going to talk about how identifying and cultivating a relationship with your sponsorship gatekeeper will help accelerate your sponsorship outreach and close those deals faster. Most people try to go past the gatekeeper without understanding the value, the importance, and the weight that the gatekeeper has within an organization that actually is more beneficial to you than going to the head of sponsorships. So in this video, I'm going to talk about what that looks like. I'm going to talk about how you can take advantage of building a relationship with this person so that your organization can be funded, but continually funded. Now, I will caveat this conversation because just because you build a relationship with the gatekeeper doesn't always mean that they're going to fund you. So I want to be clear about that. Sometimes priorities shift, and that means the dollar goes with it. So just be clear about that, but also understand that without having that relationship, man, you could be leaving so much money on the table. And the reason why I say this is because I've done this as a sponsor. Organizations that built relationships with me, when there was new opportunities coming up, whether it was through sponsorships or grants or some other sort of programmatic things that was opening up, I was telling them about it. I was passing their contact information along because I believed in what they did. So your sponsorship gatekeeper is truly someone that can become a champion for your organization. But let's look at the Webster dictionary of what a gatekeeper is, and then let's dive into this. Now, I'm going to be looking at my notes to make sure that I cover everything. I don't want to miss a drop of what I prepared for you. So make sure you get out your notepad and your pens and your paper so that you can take as many notes as you can for what you need. So a gatekeeper, by definition, is an attendant employed to control who gets through a gate. We could stop right there. Wow. It's a person or thing that controls access to something. So your gatekeeper is very, very vital in this process. And oftentimes, I've had people, they want to go to the heads of things, and it's like the head is going to miss it. They're going to miss your email. They're going to miss your ping, possibly. Or they're going to send it right back down to that first layer of shield, if you will, that gatekeeper, right? That will be the first initial layer of reviewing your materials, seeing if it's a viable and a good opportunity for a brand, their organization to be a part of. So you don't want to bypass your gatekeeper because this person can become your friend. This person can champion your organization within their organization on why that company should be investing in your organization. So let's get into it a little bit more. Let's talk about what gatekeepers do and what they don't do, right? They do and they will give you feedback to really help you navigate their sponsorship program. They'll give you insight typically, especially if you build great relationships with them. They'll give you insight. They'll show you and help you understand how the process works so that you really have a full understanding of it, so you can navigate it with ease. You can navigate it well without having to feel like you're jumping through some hoops, right? And you're just trying to figure it out on your own. They will champion your cause internally, and I've already mentioned this, but they are the ones that are going to take your opportunity up their chain of command, right? And vouch for you because they believe in your work, because you built a relationship with them, and they see why it is important for their organization, their company, to invest in what you're doing, right? What they don't do is support things without there being some alignment. They're not just, you can't just build a relationship with a gatekeeper and think they're going to support something that's not aligned with their overall brand in general. In fact, they might not even waste time investing in that relationship because, you can imagine sponsors get a lot of emails and a lot of application submissions on a daily basis. So having to filter or having to spend time, investing in a relationship that is not aligned, no one's going to be doing that, right? So they're not going to support you if there's not any alignment. They don't champion things that also are just half-baked. Now, I do understand where you already have a relationship. Maybe they sponsored you before once or twice, and you go to them and you say, hey, I've got an idea. Like, what do you think about it? Like, how can we make it better? Which I think are phenomenal questions, especially if you have a relationship with the sponsor to kind of ask those things. You don't want to bring things to them that are half baked, though, especially if it's like your first time trying to reach out to a sponsor. You want to be very clear on what they have the potential to be a part of, and you want to make sure that it is baked enough to where they can catch the vision, so they can take the vision and run with it, right? You are wanting to impart your vision into your sponsor so they understand how it could work for all parties. If it doesn't show any value, or if it doesn't bring them a whole painting, right? So let's just say you're painting a Picasso picture, I don't know, an abstract art or whatever. You're painting someone's face and you only bring parts of it. It's like, bring it to me as whole as it can be so that I can understand, oh, this is a face, like, oh, this is, a house, so that you can understand, they can understand what the vision is, right? So your gatekeeper is going to be very, very important. Now, why most people overlook the gatekeeper, I want to talk about that a little bit, because they really provide such valuable information and insight into helping you navigate their sponsorship program so that they also can align with your organization. So why most organizations overlook the gatekeeper is bizarre to me. And so if you've done this in the past, again, I'm that 1% better girl, right? So you just make a little tweak and actually care about your gatekeeper, glean as much information as you need from your gatekeeper in order to understand how to navigate their sponsorship program. Now, you're not doing it in a manipulative way. You're not doing it in an aggressive way, right? We are being kind, we are professional, we are tactful in the ways that we navigate this space. We are friendly, we're genuine and authentic. People want genuine authenticity. And let me tell you, sponsors can tell when that does not exist. So, especially if they have a level of discernment. So, you want to be authentic when you're building those relationships. And why organizations overlook it is because they think that those people are not the decision makers, without understanding that a gatekeeper is a part of the decision-making process. This process does not happen with just one person at the top. It happens most times with several people in that line of or chain of command for approval and decision-making power. That gatekeeper has the power to open up that door, or they can decline you before it even goes up to the chain of command. So, and if they have built trust within the organization, let's say, for instance, because this has happened to me, I had a lot of trust in my organization. I was well respected, and people would go to chiefs, CEOs, and they'd say, "Hey, we want you to sponsor, yada yada yada," and they would pass it right to me. They would not go to anybody in between. They would send it right to me, and I would say, "Hey, this looks good, but we don't have the budget for it. This looks good, but it's not really totally aligned with what we're looking for," or I don't think there's going to be any interest, or I don't see a connection, or this actually sounds like they do some great work, but there's no alignment with what we do and or what we support. So just know that gatekeeper is making a lot of decisions, and oftentimes there's not a lot of times where I was turned away, or they trusted, right, that I knew how to evaluate and assess these opportunities that were coming through to make sure that the brand, the company, was going to get the most out of sponsoring organizations that made the most sense. So your gatekeeper has more power than you think that they do. And if you have been trying to bypass the gatekeeper, if you have been frustrated by the gatekeeper, if you have felt that the gatekeeper is in the way, I want to help you shift your perspective and your mindset about the gatekeeper, because the gatekeeper is going to be your friend. The gatekeeper is very, very vital to this process. And if you don't recognize that, then you'll keep hitting your head. Okay? So let's talk about turning your gatekeeper into your internal advocate, into an internal advocate, right? This person needs to understand your mission. Again, when I talk about imparting your vision, not just ideas, yes, but impart your vision. Vision is long term. Vision is not just for the moment. Vision is far off, right? So impart the vision, impart your excitement, impart your ideas, impart the impact that you want to make into your gatekeeper so they can understand it. And now they understand, they're talking with your language. That has definitely happened to me, where I understand an organization well enough because they've just done well in imparting that into me. And I said, now I can regurgitate, this is what this organization is doing, and this is why it aligns with what we're doing. And this is why we need to invest 10,000, 25,000, 50,000 into this organization, right? And I'm helping them on this side understand it because I've caught the vision, because that leader did a great job of imparting it to me so that I understood it. So when you're turning your gatekeeper into your advocate, it really does help if they understand the mission, the vision, and it is focused on that, and they can really speak to it, right? Now, I also am a huge proponent, and if you've been around here for any amount of time, whether you're on my email list, whether you follow me on LinkedIn, on Instagram, wherever you've seen me speak at with one of my partners out there, you hear me talk about this all the time, where it is relationship first, business second. What do I mean by that? Build the relationship and the business stuff comes secondary to that. I mean, it's just as simple as that, right? Build the relationship, and that may take 1 phone call, 2 phone calls, 10 phone calls. That may take a month. That may take 6 months. That may take 12 months. Build the relationship. When you build the relationship, now you have a bridge to make an ask. And not just any old ask, but an ask that really will help you make impact, right? An ask that is a big ask. And a big ask is subjective or relative, right? A big ask for one organization could be $5,000. If that's where you're at, you be there until you can make bigger asks. A big ask for another organization could be asking for $75,000. And a big ask for another organization could be asking for $250,000. So whatever your big ask is for where your organization is, and when I say your organization is, meaning your organization has the infrastructure, the capacity, and capability to steward the money and steward the relationship. Don't ask for $50,000 and you are not stewarding $5,000 well. Stewardship is very important when it comes to creating recurrent sponsorship income. You have to steward the relationship and you have to steward the money well. Otherwise, sponsors won't come back. I have done that in my past. People did not steward things well. They did not steward our agreements. Right? The agreement that we made in exchange for the dollars that I was given, they did not steward that. So we did not go back. So stewardship is going to be very, very important. And stewardship also just helps you to cultivate and deepen the relationship as well. You could be trusted, right? People want to be trusted. And stewardship is a part of that. So when you are focusing on building that relationship and then talking about the business things, and sometimes it's happening in one conversation. Sometimes it does. I've done that, pitching to sponsors, and I'm just here simply to build a conversation, to build a relationship, to have a conversation, to understand our sponsorship program, and they want to know, what am I doing? They want to know, how do they be a part of what I'm doing? If the conversation asks for that, then go ahead, make your ask. But if it doesn't, really be strategic on when you make an ask, and especially if it's you're a big ask, whatever that looks like for you. So if you like this video, if anything that I said in this video really resonated with you, go ahead and hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you never miss a sponsorship strategy video. In this channel, I talk all things sponsorships, and if you are new to me, you know that if you're new to me, let's just say you're in for a journey. You're going to learn a lot. You're going to either be validated here by what you're already doing well, but you're also going to learn about some of those blind spots and those gaps that you may have in your sponsorship seeking journey, that if you just make a few tweaks to, you can lead yourself, right, and your organization to a better position with great partners that will sustain your work year after year after year. And if you want to know more, or if you decide, I need to work with this girl, I've been watching her videos and I really love what she's talking about. I've seen her on other platforms. I've been following her. You've been following me, you want to work with me, then I would encourage you to look below. I have information about how you can work with me. And I have an opportunity for you all to join my nonprofit event sponsorship accelerator. If that's something that you're looking forward to be able to understand the full sponsorship sales cycle, there is a discount code below. So make sure you check that out and join us. I would love to work with you. I would love to help with you. I would love to help you just make your sponsorship strategy better. I would love to help you really figure out how you're going to bring in more sponsorship revenue. As times are changing, I want to make sure you have the best information possible to make the best informed decisions for your organization moving forward. So have an amazing day, and look forward to seeing you next week as we drop another video in this installment. Have a great day.